Okay, we're a bit pressed for time. Could we finish by 5? Fine, we'll adapt our presentation to respect your time constraints. Go ahead. We've split the presentation into 2 parts. Firstly, Sean will give you an overview of the ad spend for this sector over the last 2 years. And then I'll take you through our strategy for the hairlight range. Over to you, Sean.
Thanks. Right, let's take a look at the communication for the shampoo and hair care sector. The survey covers the last 2 years and analyses both creative work and media investments. Starting with the creation, 2 approaches stand out in an extremely cluttered market. The first one...
Cluttered? On the contrary, we've got more than 40% of the market with Noviel and subsidiaries. We've streamlined over the last 10 years. Everything's been restructured with the mergers and buyouts. No, I'd say the market's less cluttered and we've got the lion's share. End of story.
Well, you're right. When I talked about clutter, I was referring more to the number of products listed in supermarkets. This year's listings have shot up by 17%, as opposed to the sales, which have only increased by 5%.
Yeah, true. Listings are all over the shop.
Coming back to shampoo, communication in this sector revolves around 2 product positionings: well-being and beauty.
And treatment?
That's right. And basically, over the last 3 years, the trend has been to communicate on well-being and beauty, and brands have moved away from treatment angle. As brands hardly ever communicate on this aspect, we won't be going into that here.
Actually, we've noticed that too, in the last focus group. We found that people were really turned off by the scientific medical angle.
So, with this new segmentation, there are 2 main approaches to brand communication strategy. On the one hand, hair care. And on the other hand, the beauty aspect. In the first case, the message is fashion and performance, and in the second case, the accent is more on seduction, glamour, and even the erotic dimension of the product.
Yeah, I get the feeling that they go a little too far.
In what way?
Some brands are trying to break into the market with second-rate products by overdoing the glamorous sexy slant. I mean, an excess of glamour. The result is a disappointed customer, unhappy about quality, who then has doubts about the product, while they should be doubting the promise instead. And that has an effect on all the products in this sector. Right, most shampoos only have a shelf life of 2 years.
Except ours.
Which is a sign of a lasting product that has a very ephemeral market.
As you know, there are only 2 other brands that have succeeded in building a strong image, Former and Capilla. As this chart shows, they are the biggest media investors alongside yourselves.
I'd be interested to know how much they've spent this year.
The media spend this year has risen by 15%, mainly in TV and press.
Have you got the split between above and below line investment?
We put the below-the-line figure at about 13% of the overall investment, which is an increase of 7% over last year.
Could you give us a breakdown by brand?
Sure, everything's in the documents. You'll find the investment per brand, by range, the trend per media, and an analysis for each country in Europe for your main competitors. So, to sum up, we are developing communication in a highly competitive market with high-pressure advertising dominated by 3 major brands that communicate for the most part on well-being.
By the way, I wanted to ask you, Mr. Johnson, have you heard of the contest launched by Doven? Yes. The prize is a year's free haircuts. It's just another example of this well-being strategy adopted by brands. Yeah, right.
Are there any questions?
No, that's it for me. Mary, anything you wanted to ask?
No, that seems clear.
Thanks. Okay, can we move on to the strategy then? Okay, for the strategy. Our strategy stems from the development objectives on the one hand and from the consumer expectations of the hairlight range on the other.